this is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Thank you so much for joining in today and for being part of this Bible summary. If you're here for the very first time, karibu sana. I do hope that you stay until the end of the video. Don't get lost or bored in the middle. I know I do a lot of reading because I actually will read the whole chapter of the Bible and then I will give my lessons at the end of the chapter. So don't get off the video before we get to the lesson, because that is the most important part. And if you're here for the you've been here from the beginning, or you joined somewhere in between and you have chosen to stay, thank you so very much. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit the notification bell so that you're able to get an alert every single time a video goes up. So today we are going to be covering Deuteronomy chapter 31, which has a lot of mixed emotions. So guys, just probably some sort of tears balancing and whatever, but there's a lot of emotion in this chapter. I'll be reading it from the New Living Translation. I'll be reading it word for word. So please, let's stick through and let us learn from the word of God. All right, so it says Joshua becomes Israel's leader. So when Moses had finished giving these instructions to all the people of Israel, he said, I am now 120 years old. I'm no longer able to lead you. And the Lord has told me, you will not cross the Jordan River, but the Lord your God himself will cross over ahead of you. He will destroy the nations living there, and you will take possession of the land. Joshua will lead you across the river, just as the Lord promised. The Lord will destroy the nations living in the land, just as he destroyed Sihon and Og, the kings of Amorites, and the Lord will hand over to you the people who live there, and you must deal with them as I have commanded you. So be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid and do not panic before them, for the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. So encouraging, guys, so encouraging. Then Moses called Joshua, and as all Israel watched, he said to him, be strong and courageous, for you will lead these people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors he will give them. You are the one who will divide it among them and grant as their grants of lands. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. He will be with you, and he will never fail you nor abandon you. All right, so Moses wrote this entire body of instruction in a book and gave it to the priest. Can you imagine writing everything that has been said, and give it to the priest who carried the ark of the Lord, the Lord's covenant, and to the elders of Israel. Then Moses gave them this command: at the end of every 7 year, the year of the Lord, sorry guys, let me repeat. Then Moses gave them this command: at the end of every 7th year, the year of release, during the festive of shelters, you must read this book of instructions to all the people of Israel when they assemble before the Lord your God at the place he chooses. I like that, reminding people 7 years. Call them all together, men, women, children, and foreigners living in your towns, so they may hear the book of instructions and learn to fear the Lord your God and carefully obey the terms of these instructions. Do this so that your children who have not known these instructions will hear them and will learn to fear the Lord your God. Do this as long as you live in the land you're crossing the Jordan to occupy. All right, Israel's disobedience predicted. Then the Lord said to Moses, the time has come for you to die. Call Joshua and present yourself at the tabernacle, so that I may commission him there. So Moses and Joshua went to present themselves at the tabernacle, and the Lord appeared to them in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the sacred tent. The Lord said to Moses, you are about to die and join your ancestors. After you are gone, these people will begin to worship foreign gods and the gods of the land where they are going. They will abandon me and break my covenant that I have made with them. This is so sad. Then my anger will blaze forth against them. I will abandon them, hiding my face from them, and they will be devoured. Their terrible trouble will come down on them, and on the day that they will say, these disasters have come down on us because God is no longer among us. At that time, I will hide my face from them on account of all the evil they will commit by worshiping other gods. So write down the words of this song and teach it to the people of Israel. Oh, kuna song, kuna production ya song hapa. Help them learn it, so it may serve as a witness for me against them. For I will bring them into the land I swore to give their ancestors, a land flowing with milk and honey. They will become prosperous, eat all the food they want, and become fat, but they will begin to worship other gods. They will despise me and break my covenant. It's interesting. This verse is interesting. It says that the Lord will bring them to a land that is flowing with milk and honey. Then they will become prosperous, eat all they want, become fat, and then begin to worship other idols. It feels like the more prosperous you get, or the more blessed you are, the higher the chances of you walking away from God and actually thinking that your strength got you there, thinking that your wealth got you there, thinking that your efforts got you there, your network got you there, and that way you walk away from God. You hardly hear people who are walking away from God when they are like at their least. That is when we need God the most. It's very highly unlikely that you will walk away from God when uko chini. It is highly likely that you will walk away from God when you've already been prosperous, when you've already eaten and become fat. But they will begin to worship other gods, and they will despise me and break my covenant. And when great disasters come down to them, this song will stand as evidence against them, for it will never be forgotten by their descendants. I know the intentions of these people, even now, before they have entered the land I swore to give them. So that very day, Moses wrote down the words of the song and taught it to the Israelites. Then the Lord commissioned Joshua, son of Nun, with these words: be strong and courageous. This is the 4th time we're reading that. For you must bring the people of Israel into the land I swore to give them, and I will be with you. When Moses had finished writing this entire instruction in a book, he gave this command to the Levites who carried the ark of the Lord's covenant. Take this book of instruction and place it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, so it may remain there as a witness against the people of Israel. For I know how rebellious and stubborn you are. Even now, while I'm still alive, you are, and I'm here with you, you have rebelled against the Lord. How much more rebellious will you be after my death? Now, summon all the elders and all the officials of your tribe, so that I can speak to them directly and call heaven and earth to witness against them. I know that after my death, you will become utterly corrupt and will turn from the way I have commanded you to follow. In the days to come, disaster will come down on you, for you will do what is evil in the Lord's sight, making him very angry in your actions. And then verse 30, which is the last verse, it's subtitled The Song of Moses. So Moses recited the entire song publicly to the assembly of Israel, and we will sing this. We will see the song, not sing it, see it, like see it, hear it in the next chapter that is coming. I feel like this chapter has a lot of mixed emotions. I mean, we have God assuring Israelites that he will not abandon them and that he will fight their enemies for them. And then we have Moses, who is about to die. We have a new leader who has just been commissioned, who is Joshua. We have a prophecy of Israel's disobedience and the future disaster that awaits them. And then we have a song that is going to be recorded and taught, and we shall read it in the next chapter. That is just a lot of things happening that are here and there. But I like this chapter because the words be strong and courageous are repeated about 4 to 5 times. I actually used to think that these words be strong and courageous start from the book of Joshua, because we're going to see them in the book of Joshua. But I like that it starts now. Like God starts to encourage the Israelites now, because I feel like these words are spoken in such relevant times. I mean, the Israelites have every reason to be scared. This leader, they have known them from the day they left Egypt, all the way for the 40 years. He has brought them, or rather he has been used by God to bring them water, been used by God to bring them, to set them free from captivity and from slavery. This leader that they have known for as long as they have been in this desert is about to die. And at the same time, as this leader is dying, who has been their leader and the only leader that they have known, they are about to enter into a nation that has people as big as giants. It has people who are so great and nations that are way greater than Israel. You think Israel is great? It's only great because God is with them. But the other nations are actually greater in terms of physical strength, in terms of capacity, and all that. They're actually about to enter into a very frightening land and into a very frightening situation. It almost feels like Moses is dying when the Israelites need him the most. It feels like, no, not now. Like, wait until we have conquered the land, then you can die. So it's no wonder that they are encouraged to be strong and courageous 4 times in this chapter. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're just like, you have every reason to be afraid, you have every reason to be anxious, you have every reason to be timid? It could be maybe you have been promoted into a position where you're constantly have no idea what you're doing. You're constantly questioning yourself, you're constantly doubting yourself, you're constantly wondering whether you're worthy of the title, whether you can actually do the job, or you are about to jump from employment to starting a business, and that in itself can cause a lot of anxiety. Or you have just moved from a place that you know to a new city, a new town, either because of work or because of school, or you have just lost a job or lost a loved one. There are so many situations in life. I feel like there are so many situations in life that can make you feel like you're in some sort of wilderness, that can cause you a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, and can cause you to be timid. But I like the fact that God doesn't just leave us like, you and your feeling timid, and you and feeling afraid and feeling anxious, mutajisort. See ya. No, like God gives us a lot of encouragement, and the Bible gives us a lot of encouragement. So let us, in those times when we feel anxious, in those times when we have every reason to be afraid and every reason to be timid, let us take this encouragement from verse 8. And this is what it says. It says, "Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. He will be with you, and he will never fail you nor abandon you." If that doesn't encourage you, actually, I don't know what will encourage you. Okay, maybe $1 million would encourage you. But if the fact that the God of the creation is with you all the time, that he will never fail you, he will never abandon you, does not encourage you. I don't know what will encourage you. That is all I can tell you. That the Lord is going to be with you. That he actually goes before you in those situations to make sure that everything is great, to make sure that the roads are straight, to make sure that every mountain is flattened, every valley is filled up. That is our God. And he promises us and he tells us to not be afraid and to be encouraged and to not be discouraged, because the Lord will personally go ahead of us. He will go ahead of us. So that's the first thing. He goes ahead of us. And then he will be with you. So he will go, it's almost like Kimbias goes and makes sure everything is great, and then he comes back now to walk the journey with you. That he will be with you. He will never fail you, and he will never abandon you. This should be the encouragement that you take in every time, every situation that makes you feel afraid, timid, or anxious. This is your girl, Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore.